Here we are again, back on our channel, WOCG, talking about life, love, spirituality, truth, many of the different things that we often talk about. It's said that one should get into one niche, talk about one thing. That way, one can attract more and more listeners and get more clicks. I think that's a very good idea. But at the same time, I think spirituality covers all topics. It covers many aspects of the human being: the mental, the physical, the spiritual, and the economic, and the religious, and the political. Because you see, something's happening nowadays that has probably been happening a long time ago, but we can really see because of social media. We can see that often the religious and the political have been joined together in order to support the economic forces or to work to gather things from the economic forces in this country and in the world. And so we don't have many religions working together just to create the kingdom of heaven within themselves or to connect fully with God. We have many of them working together with politicians behind the scenes now in order to create a world where they will benefit more than other people and they can force their ideas onto other people. And when I say ideas, I'm not talking about their behaviors, because if they were actually behaving the way that they were supposed to behave from their religions, they wouldn't be sneaking behind closed doors and working with politicians or becoming politicians who would lie, cheat, steal, and make deals with others. So we are in an interesting world, and I figure why not just come out straight with the politics and with the religion and all of those things that have been hidden for so long, so that we can all have the power to make choices as to what we want to hear, what we want to see, and what we want to understand. I guess that's kind of old-fashioned. It's old-fashioned to believe that we can speak the truth and we can help people begin to understand and to think and to weigh and to make decisions for themselves. And it will make a better world. But I'm still of that belief, as many people are, because we have seen what the opposite belief has brought us nowadays. Even as I speak of this, I'm a little nervous because of all of the shadow banning and all of the warnings that people get when they say the wrong things on these videos or on Facebook or other media. They're warned about community standards, told that they should read the community standards, and I'm wondering why I have to read the community standards if I, as part of the community, have created those standards. Shouldn't it be obvious what I should and should not be able to do if they are really community standards? I think they are standards that a group of elite corporate people probably got together and decided to work on because they were afraid that they would lose money if people said something that was politically incorrect. That is the shame of it, and that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about people not trusting others to hear the truth, to make the right decisions. People working behind the scenes, being political or religious or whatever their thing is in order to control what other people think and what they say. Truth is, though, that many things should be put out into the open. They should be debated. People should have knowledge about them at least and begin to talk about them so that the people can decide what they want and what they don't. Real community standards. Have you filled out a survey on any social media that asks you anything about community standards and your desires? I haven't. And I've been fooling with some of them for almost 15 years. Why is this if they are community standards? Do you see what I mean? And so we live in a world of doublespeak. I remember I was working at a school one time. I was working with these children who were severely emotionally disturbed children. And they used to do something like this half the time when somebody was talking, meaning that they had a forked tongue. I think that almost everybody has that forked tongue nowadays, and it's getting frightening because we can't tell what is true and what is not true. And if we know what is true, most of the time we can't state it without fear. I've seen a lot of posts where people are writing things, and when they write the title for videos, they're leaving out words or leaving out letters or blocking them out, knowing that the computer can pick up certain words and block the whole video. And this is very sad. It's very sad when we can look and we can see some of the big players saying anything that they want, any type of lies, twisting and warping the truth. But when those who are just starting say one word that the powers that be don't agree with, they get flagged. And this is not new, is it? This is the way that the world has been ever since the creation of the state or the fiefdom. Those with power and privilege at the top being able to do just about whatever they wanted to, and the majority, about 90% of the people or 95% of the people, having to follow along and shift their speech, their behavior, the way they looked, in order just to have a piece of the earth. And the strange thing and the funny thing is that when the United States began, there was a struggle. There was an attempt to move it as much as possible to the left in order to create a country that was at least free for all to fight and struggle to move up. Of course, during their time period, they were limited to what they could do because the southern states were exploiting free black labor, and all the states were committing a genocide against the Native American people. So they were limited in the government they could make. They were hoping that future generations would become woke enough in order to finish the dream that they have and create a dream of liberty and justice for all people. And we were slowly moving in that direction until the late 70s, the early 80s, when money began to pour in to the government, lobbyists, legal bribery, secret pacts, all began to take over the nation and slowly change it to a feudal system. And that is what we have now. 1% of the people with 90% of the goods, and the rest of us struggling and striving in order to survive. The ones who support the 1% are closer to survival. It only takes selling one's soul or learning to perform the right mental gymnastics to make one not feel guilty about the pain and the suffering that they are causing or they are seeing in the world. That's all it takes, which to me is the selling of the soul. But this is spun as being strong, a go-getter, a winner. Being untrue to oneself, betraying oneself is seen as something good. And that's the world we live in. Question is this: how can we stay true to ourselves in such a world without always being angry or sad or despondent or maybe even suicidal? It involves creating one's own atmosphere, taking in beauty, taking in love, finding people who are like minded to deal with and to work with, to create a community that withstands the buffeting of the hatred and the anger, the violence, and most of all, the greed. A lack of satisfaction with what one has, always needing more and more and more, with the concept of enough never coming into view. How could you have billions of dollars and not be satisfied and want more, or even millions of dollars? How could you have millions of dollars and walk down the streets of LA and see more than 30, 40, 50,000 people living in tents, many of them working jobs but still living in tents, and be a happy person? That involves a certain type of double mindedness or psychosis. It's impossible for the average person. And it's not a strength, it is a weakness, a dehumanization. It is something that takes away our power to live fully in the here and now and to experience ourselves as human beings. But we have that, don't we? We can push through that. One, finding satisfaction in the things that we have. Two, finding ways to supply what we need, whether it be through group farming or by creating working cooperatives where we work together, start businesses together, and share the money that we make in the community. Meeting together, talking about the cares of the world, and celebrating the life that we have and the joy that we have in a place where we are not being bombed or starved, or people are not trying to cut off our water. Learning to enter fully into life and to celebrate life instead of staying in a world of death and constantly fighting to be part of that death machine through the use of anger and self manipulation to drive us in directions that we know we should not be going in. Through our minds, through our imaginations, meditation and contemplation, and the realization that we have overcome the sickness, or as the biblical term says, we have overcome the world. We become free, and we can find joy, peace, and love in the worst of moments. I invite you to do that, because that is what I am striving to do day after day after day, striving to find love and peace in this crazy, crazy world. One way is by criticizing it. One way is by laughing at it. Another way is by doing what my heart tells me that I need to do. Radio programs, writing books, doing this YouTube channel. And through this, I bring light and hope into the world. How do you do it? Or how would you like to? Or would you like to? The idea is to discover this, to realize what your path is, to live that path and to connect with people who are like-minded, who will guide you or be guided by you or walk with you on that path. That is the secret. It's that simple. But all of this, as I said, comes from the realization of who we are. Reflections of the universe, the light of the world, the creative energy of the universe, the hands and fingers of God, goddess, creator, creatress, whatever you want to call it. the consciousness of the universe. That is who you are. And when you pass from this body, it will lay down and go back into the earth, and you will simply return back to that grand, magnificent part of the one that you are now and always have been. Thanks for listening to us and this madness. Hit the like sign, hit the thumbs up, leave some comments because now the Facebook algorithms are looking for such things to prove that you are aligned with community standards. You can also find out more about what we're doing at our website at www.nextstepcoaching.mysite.com, and you may have to try to go to it a couple of times because I have found myself that the internet is acting strange, and sometimes it goes to a 404 the first time, and after a few times it goes to the website. There you'll find a copy of our book, The Gathering of the Chosen, and you can get that at lulu.com, or you can make a donation to our website, or you can find other books, Life, Work, and Spirituality, a great sci-fi book you can find, all kinds of things and free information. Thanks for being with us again, and have a great holiday. Remember, there is nothing greater in this world than you are.